hij inmiddels op zijn naam staan. 4 daarvan zijn majors. Op dit moment is hij de nummer 18 op de wereldranglijst. En als 13e geplaatst voor deze Dutch Darts Masters. De Lakeside wereldkampioen van 2014. The Bullet, Steven Bunting! Twee fantastische spelers op het podium. Eén fantastische scheidsrechter. Geef hem hartelijk applaus. De Kirkulator, Kirk Bevins.
Hello. You're the passenger, in the words of Mike Skinner of the Streets. I'm Dan Dawson, Rob Malarkey alongside me for 7 games this afternoon, plus an extra bonus game, too hot for television, between Paul Nicholson and somebody who probably drags out the crowd. And then 8 games this evening. We will see Michael van Gerwen, the 5-time winner of the Dutch Darts Masters, look to defend his title again, having just successfully defended the Premier League title on Thursday night in front of 10,000 fans at the O2. Not quite that many here right now in Zwolle, but it will fill up as the day goes on. And we've got some massive names for you. This afternoon sees 7, fully half of the players in action, have won major titles or made major finals. And 2 of them are facing off here. A former world champion in the Bullet, Stephen Bunting, and a former Grand Prix finalist in the history maker, Brendan Dolan. Rob Malarkey, how's this one going to go?
Well, there's every sign here that Brendan Dolan could maintain what he's just been promising to do. I thought he put in a very accomplished display yesterday against Wesley Pleshier, 6-1, 92.3 the average. But there have been just moments from Brendan Dolan this year, I think, that just suggest that he might just be returning to something like the sort of stuff he was producing a few years ago.
First leg is Brendan to throw first. Game on.
Kirk Bevins gets us underway. The Northern Irishman will lead things off. Great day for the players from Ireland yesterday, because not only did we see Brendan win his game, we saw Mickey Mansell win his game, we saw Ireland's Willie O'Connor win. It means all 3 of those are in action today, alongside the Northern Irish number 1, Daryl Gurney, seeded number 3.
Yeah, and it was a good day for the qualifiers for the European Tour card holders as well. All 6 of them coming through. And with the likes of Danny van Trijp and Florian Hempel and Dennis Nielsen coming through as well, there is a very cosmopolitan lineup to this second round day here in Zwolle. But we are starting off with an Englishman and a Northern Irishman. Stephen Bunting as well has been showing signs here and there this year. He had that run to the final on the Pro Tour fairly recently, where he lost to Jeffrey de Zwaan, but he has had double digits in terms of first round defeats on the Pro Tour this year.
Yeah, it's been a strange old year for Stephen Bunting. It's been kind of odd for Brendan Dolan as well. Back end of last year, produced some great stuff at the Players' Championship finals and the World Championship, and then the results haven't been great, and yet some of the performances have been pretty good this year. He looked like he might beat Michael van Gerwen on the European Tour in Sindelfing, and just didn't quite work out. Beaten in a last leg decider, which is just what happens when you play Michael van Gerwen in a last leg decider on the Euro Tour.
85.
Yeah, he's not made the final day on the Euro Tour this year. In fact, he's not made the final day in Europe since the Danish Darts Open last year, where he made the quarterfinals,
having beaten MVG.
Having beaten MVG on the way, but it's Bunting who has the early break in this. Winner of this to face either Gerwin Price or Christoph Ratajski. Ratajski, by the way, was very impressive yesterday in his win. 6 out of 10 on his doubles against Ross Smith.
Yeah, Ross Smith averaging pretty much 100 and only got 3 legs in that game.
And just to give you an idea, if you weren't with us yesterday, about the sort of standard we had yesterday, we had 3 players.
I was with you, Rob. I saw it all.
Not you personally.
Right, yeah.
The wider audience out there. Yeah, 3 players who produced ton-plus averages and yet lost. Harry Ward in particular, 5 180s, averaged 103, got beat 6-1 by Danny Noppert.
Well, Mike De Decker averaged 105 nearly.
Yeah. Against RJ Rod.
Yeah, well, look, we've been banging on this year about how they've changed the qualification system and how the European tour card holder qualifier is so hard, and there's only 6 places, which contributes to it being so hard to get through. But it's been reflected this weekend, hasn't it? Because, as you rightly pointed out, every single one of them won their opening game, and some of the best performers were in that section. And with the other regional qualifiers, the associate member one for Europe, the Nordic and Baltic one, you know, Mike De Decker was the associate member for Europe qualifier who lost, and he lost with 105 average. So some real strong performances for the European talent here in Zwolle. But this is a really strong start from Stephen Bunting here. Not going to take out the 170.
56.
And he could have put a bigger hole in that, but Brendan Dolan, anything, well, he needs a treble. 2 trebles gives him a chance. 3 would be fantastic. Oh, my word.
That was on it.
80. Steve Newquan,
Bunting just has the initiative once again here. Dolan, that was a really good opportunity, and it was unfortunate for him as well, but Bunting not standing on ceremony, or not normally the sort of player who does stand on ceremony.
82.
Well, just even if that dart that fell out the board had gone in the 20, this would be a 1 treble required outshot. As it is, he needs 2 trebles to get to a double. Some bounce out to worse than others. And there you see, Brendan Dolan would have a dart for the leg if it wasn't for that dart falling out the board.
32.
Yeah, the fine margins brutally illustrated there for Brendan Dolan. Bunting looking at double 16. Just inside for double 8s.
Game shot on the second leg.
And it is 2-0 to the Bullets.
Third leg is Brendan to throw first. Game on.
Bullets got fond memories of this place. In fact, he made the quarters here last year as a qualifier. But he had a 6-0 win over Michael Smith along the way.
100.
And I remember at the time he described that as probably the best performance of his life.
I mean, that was big talk,
Which was
wasn't it,
big
for
talk.
a man who's won Lakeside titles and World Masters. I mean, incredible. Man who's beaten Michael van Gerwen in a
85.
Pro Tour final. Made a World Series final.
And he tagged on to that. I think the quote was, "I'm playing better than I've ever done in my life." And it wasn't too long after that he sort of reverted to type.
140.
With Brendan Dolan said very much the same thing at the World Championship. He said, look, obviously, Brendan Dolan, going back a few years, he won 5 titles in pretty quick order. And even Michael van Gerwen was calling him the most underrated player in the world. He is so dangerous. And Brendan, who was really worried about losing his tour card, but went to the Players' Championship finals, had a good run, only lost out to the eventual champion Daryl Gurney, then won some really solid games at Ali Pali to make the quarters and ease those fears about sliding out of the game. I mean, that run at Ali Pali has probably meant that he'll be fine for his tour card for the next 2 years. It is that
42.
That big of a deal for him.
164.
But he said, look, I know I've had a tough time over the last 2 or 3 years. But hello. Okay, I'll stay on the 18s. But he says, but I know I'm playing as well as I did back then. It's just harder. The standard is higher. The strength in depth is more. And so it does make things harder to win.
100.
That makes this leg easier to win for Stephen Bunting.
Brendan Uruguay, 68.
Yeah, Dolan doesn't have too much margin for error with this 68. But he's got 2 bites at double 4, and he only needs 1.
Brendan Dolan. Fourth leg is Stephen to throw first. Game on.
Well, 14 darter to get a leg on the board.
.45.
Bunting averaged 106, by the way, in that win over Michael Smith. He won 3 legs in 12 darts or so, and I think he even had 4 match darts as well that he missed before he eventually got it wrapped up.
55.
And then he backed it up by averaging over a ton against Ratajski in the 3rd round as well. It was just a really good weekend, but like I said, next European Tour event he was beaten in his opening match in Gibraltar, so it didn't last too long as far as the European Tour form was concerned. But he'd recover again to make the semis of the European match play. It was all very topsy-turvy for Stephen Bunting at that time of the year last season.
100.
Playing in his 6th Euro Tour event of this year. He's Had one quarter-final in Hildesheim. Made the final day in 2 further tournaments as well.
Yeah, you look at these guys'
134.
stats over the course of the year and the Players' Championship stuff, and there's less than half a point between them in the averages. They're both in that sort of between 40 and 50 in the rankings, averaging round about 92.5, 93. So you would think that this is going to be a close game, but when we were looking at the stats earlier on about their head-to-head record, you nearly fainted like some delicate Victorian flower. I had to fetch a chaise longue for you when you realised they hadn't played each other for 4 years.
Staggering.
Sir, I am overcome.
My mind cannot absorb this information.
Well, yeah.
85. Stephen Newk 145.
Just seems weird, doesn't it? As stalwarts of the PDC Tour, playing at every available opportunity. Granted, they've perhaps not been involved on the Euro Tour as much as they would have
79.
liked at times. But playing all the Players' Championship stuff and regulars at TV tournament.
Yeah. Like ships in the night, they've just managed to avoid each other. Brendan Dolan's got fond memories of this place as well. Well, not this place, this tournament. He made the final.
66.
Lost to Kim Huybrechts in 2013. Bunting looking at 66. So 9 for double 16.
34.
Well, chance for Dolan to break back now.
And then Uruguay 64.
Well, all in the bottom left corner of the board here for Brendan, unless he pins the treble 8, but I think he'll be looking at the 16s. Another one in there. Now in the double. 2-2.
Brendan Dolan. Fifth leg is Brendan to throw first. Game on.
Bunting just rolling the shoulders. Maybe just feeling a little bit tight at this early stage of the day.
140.
Bunting told me a fantastic story about his various exploits. We were discussing Copenhagen and him and his mate Ricky Evans, who you will see in action this afternoon, taking on Danny van Tripe in a very rapid game of darts. But they were talking about how last year they'd gone to Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen and they'd been on all the rides and everything. But got Bunting reminiscing about a time at Breen Sands where he and another Liverpudlian darts player called Alan Green, former UK Open quarter-finalist, known as Danger Scouse.
60.
They had seen some kids going on a ghost train down by the seafront there, and they thought, that looks fun, let's go on that.
My mind is whirring as to where this is going, but go on.
It's incredible. I've never heard this stuff before, but that is a superb visit from Brendan Dolan. We've seen that stuff before from him. So Alan Green and Stephen Bunting, these big old Scout start players, decide this will be a long. Let's go on a ghost train. We'll resume this story in a moment. 134 needed for Brendan. Well, 15 off means it can't be done just yet. But he goes back to the 20s. That will set it up very nicely. And Brendan Dolan, having gone 2-0 down, might be about to go 3-2 up here. Stephen Bunting shot out of the blocks, but has stalled a little bit.
Brendan Uruguay 40.
Tops for the history maker.
On the fifth leg.
There it is. It is 3 legs on the spin.
Sixth leg is Stephen to throw first.
So to resume.
Game on.
Before we were rudely interrupted by the conclusion of that leg.
The Bullet and Danger Scouse. So let's go on this ghost train, and they cram themselves into the little carriage. Bunting's got his knees up by his ears. Green jammed in beside him. And off it shoots. These big doors nearly fly off their hinges. This sort of little trolley shoots down a ramp at 100 miles an hour with these 2 big lads propelling it forward. And they go towards, suddenly they turn a corner and there's a mirror in front of them, and Bunting thinks it's the carriage coming the other way, so he tries to duck and he leans one way, and Alan Green leans that way as well, and they derail a ghost train carriage. They took the thing off the tracks, so the bloke had to come and push them off it and round the front and just leave them stranded in it. until they had to go and get released. Stephen Bunting is the only man I have ever met who has managed to derail a ghost train ride and also win Lakeside and World Masters.
121.
If you get that trifecta, that's very much a triple crown to be proud of.
Absolutely.
But he's in danger of his challenge here being derailed because Brendan Dolan is very much in the ascendancy. And his average has crept up to the high 90s right now, Brendan Dolan.
91. Brendan Uruguay, 129.
Yeah, and this would be for a fourth leg without reply for Brendan Dolan. Real momentum behind the 45-year-old from County Fermanagh.
Beautiful dart. Needed to find another treble.
89.
But he pinned tops first time of asking last time. And the bullet has got to produce a 170. We've already seen one of these this weekend.
Yeah, it was Norris yesterday in his defeat by Beeson.
60. Brendan Uruguay, 40.
Back-to-back 13 darters on tops. That's
Yeah,
exactly what it is. And Brendan Dolan is looking really, really assured.
Brendan to throw first.
4 on the spin.
Well, his doubles in that defeat by Van Gerwen were very effective as well. 5 out of 8 in that 6-5 defeat by MVG in Sindelfingen. And so far today, absolute perfection for the history maker.
99.
1 on double 4, 1 on double 16, and a couple at tops. Bunting. Well, just not quite. Been at the races
43.
since the opening couple of legs. Winner of this faces Price or Ratajski, as you pointed out earlier. For me, that looks like the game of the afternoon. The Grand Slam champ and the former world master.
140.
Yeah, and Ratajski recently beat Gerwin Price as well on his way to the quarter-finals on the Pro Tour. That was the weekend that Ratajski hammered Barney 6-1 with that 112 average. Or I say weekend, it might have been the midweek one. But you get the idea. Ratajski has got recent form against Gerwin Price, and he won't be overawed by that.
I'm not sure anything
92.
makes Christoph Ratajski overawed. Even filling it up wouldn't have got Bunting to a finish. Dolan knows that he's got a couple of visits to see off the 170. His average is now in excess of 99.
Well, this would be a big, big moment in his...
55.
Well, certainly in his 2019. This could open a few doors for Brendan Dolan if he could have a really good, deep run this weekend.
$134.
Now then,
Brendan Uruguay,
could be
115.
a momentum changer, this. If Stephen Bunting is allowed the chance at the 84. But he might not be. Because again, double top, he's not missed a single dart at double, and he still has not missed a single dart at double. This is deadly on the outer ring from Brendan Dolan.
Well, that looked almost inevitable, didn't it? As soon as that single 18 was found, it just seemed certain that Dolan would find his way through to double top, and Bunting just...
140.
I think Bunting can take some comfort from the fact that Dolan has been absolutely inch perfect with his finishing today. Okay, Bunting will be disappointed that he's not been challenging as much as he had, and having squandered a 2-leg lead as well at the outset.
60.
But there's not really, even if he'd been in position, not really a great deal he can do when Dolan's been finishing the way he has.
Well, he's only been allowed 1 dart at double in this 5-leg spell that Brendan has had. And that came in that 18 darter you see there, which was a break of throw. So there have been opportunities. If Stephen Bunting had thrown some 15 darters on throw, he'd have stopped
60.
Brendan Dolan, who is very rarely compared to a runaway train. But this game has played out in that manner.
139. $99. Steve Newcomb, 164. $100.
Well, no great damage done here for Brendan Dolan because this is on the bunting throw, so he can afford maybe just to let this one slide by. It's all about how he deals with the next leg on throw, although he may still get a chance at this one anyway.
140. Steve Newcomb, 64.
Does he remember where the doubles are? It's been a while.
48.
Maybe not.
Brendan Newcomb, 142.
Good century or so inside the wire for that final dart at double 16. Bunting will be hopeful of returning, but Brendan Dolan has got confidence coursing through his veins right now, and you wouldn't put it past him at all. Or maybe you would.
Well, I think he made the right decision to stay there, but he just couldn't find another dart in the treble.
16.
He has left himself double 16, and Bunting knows it's going to go. So that has to go, and it does. And Stephen Bunting stops the rot, but is he only a temporary thing?
$100.
Well, 2 breaks to 1 Dolan leads, so Bunting just has to try and console himself with the fact that he just needs to find 1 break, and then once it gets to 5-all, you are
100.
very much in the lap of the gods. But that's a big ask for Stephen Bunting right now, because Dolan's still very much in the ascendancy despite squandering that last leg.
Well, it's been a good quality start to the day, whatever.
139.
And Brendan Dolan looking to finish it with some quality. If he can see off 2-6-2 in 6 darts, Bunting can do nothing about it.
140.
His first meeting between the pair for 4 years is going to go the way of the history maker.
$85.
Just sneaking that one into the bottom left-hand corner. Grimace on the face of Bunting after that second dart, but he recovers well to get himself down to a very manageable 1-2-1 on the Dolan throw.
Yeah, he had a look at a 1-2-1 earlier on in this game on the Dolan throw, and he didn't get a dart for the leg.
95.
But again, a last dart in the treble applies the pressure. Dolan should get a match dart if he's allowed to return. Bunting has to stop him. Treble 17 has to be hit. And it isn't, and Dolan does get a go.
97.
Ball for double 16, 25, 17 and tops. Brendan Dolan has not missed a single dart at double at this game, and if he doesn't miss a big number, he's going to get a match dart.
And it's at tops.
42.
And the ultimate irony for Brendan Dolan, who has been absolutely perfect on his finishing so far today, especially on tops. 5 out of 5, becomes 5 out of 6, and Stephen Bunting looking to pounce on double 12 for a breaker throw to take us into a 10th leg. 5-4, Dolan leads, and all of a sudden Bunting is threatening.
You don't very often see somebody play on the Euro Tour and post 100% on their doubles in a game. But it is not the first time that we've seen somebody 100% and their first misses have been match darts. And I think that probably tells you something. That the winning double is often the hardest one to hit.
And just over the last leg and a half or so, Dolan's first dart has been going awry.
170.
His first dart in the main today has been very healthy indeed. Sufficiently higher first dart average than his second and third, but just over the last 5 or 6 visits, it has gone a little bit awry.
96.
Well, there's life in this game. Brendan Dolan would have the throw in a last leg decider if we go the distance. But if we do, he'll have lost 3 legs on the spin. And speaking of spin, that's the helicopter finger. The first time we've seen that from the history maker today.
Yeah, timely one as well. It might just settle him down again.
85.
So Dolan has a bit of a cushion to work with now on the Bunting throw. 56 the lead, plus whatever he can post here. Could do with the treble.
60.
And the Grimace tells its own story once more.
Just kept on following that first dart, didn't he? Couldn't adjust. Just more of the same. Bunting, a ton 40 gives him a realistic chance. A ton gives him a slim one. Wants to stay on the 20s.
Great response. Really good response. Just that step over to the left-hand side. Had to stay there. Gets himself an opportunity at Shanghai on 20s. Dolan on 144 under the cosh all of a sudden.
The highest checkout we've seen in this game was 115. It looked like
92.
it might be a match winner for Brendan Dolan.
120.
But if it's trumped by this Shanghai from Bunting, it might be a match saver.
That's the easy bit, and he's done the hard bit as well. Tops.
100. Brendan Uruguay 52.
He's already missed one match dart. He's going to get two more, barring a disaster. Disaster averted. And Bunting dispatched. Brendan Dolan wins it by 6 legs to 4. The former Grand Prix champion averages around about the 98 mark. A spirited fight back from Bunting, but to no avail. Brendan Dolan will face either Gerwyn Price or Krzysztof Ratajski, the #1 from Wales or the #1 from Poland. In a moment, it's the #1 from Australia, from a European champion, Simon Whitlock, against a man who made a stunning Euro Tour debut yesterday, Florian Hempel.
Stephen Bunting. Brennan, another early afternoon match, another win.
Yeah, at least tomorrow's an early one as well, so hopefully that's a good sign for me.
Just to remind you, tomorrow you can sleep in a little bit. You're an hour and a half later than today.
Oh, that's good.
Last couple of years, you've been sliding down the rankings. What is your goal for 2019? Did you set yourself a goal?
Yeah, start climbing. No, I just want to start to improve. I know the standard for my darts is improving because I'm actually practicing more now, and it does make a difference. I do find I'm not getting the results that maybe I think I deserve, but you know, other people's putting in probably the same amount of practice and maybe more, and maybe they deserve it more than me. But I do know my game's good. I just have to get a wee bit more consistent with it, and you know, if I get back to my old ways, the way I used to finish, I think my scoring's improved, and I think I can be on threat.
We're going to see you back tomorrow, Sunday afternoon. Dames en heren, morgenmiddag is hij terug. Brendan Dolan. En dat betekent meteen dat wij ons